It's all about the money.
I think the biggest name so far to come out is Jennifer Lopez. What did she know? When did she know it? Unless there's a change in circumstances. Oh, that's right. You don't like jail. And you're making friends with cockroaches. So is that your change in circumstances? The fact that you're living in a hellhole called jail and you're secluded and it sucks? Welcome to jail. That's what jail's all about. Jail is about making it
Hold on tight, because today's news is explosive. We're talking arrest warrants for some major celebrities, and the rumors are swirling. Word on the street is that these warrants are all linked to Diddy's infamous freak-off parties. You know the ones. Scandalous doesn't even begin to describe it. I can't drop any names just yet, but believe me, some of your favorite stars could be in serious trouble. This isn't just about losing jobs or getting dragged on Twitter. We're talking about possible career-ending drama. The list of celebs involved is crazier than any reality show you've ever seen. I'm still in shock, so get your popcorn ready, because this Hollywood scandal is the talk of the town, and trust me, it's juicier than a Georgia peach.
Absent a change in circumstances, the new judge isn't going to rule on it, despite the fact that there's a new lawyer on the case. They've got some death penalty lawyer. It's not a death penalty type case, but they've got a lawyer with death penalty experience, just because, I don't know, they may need some more talent, because guess what happens when you're sitting in jail? You start to question things. Is my lawyer doing everything my lawyer can do? Just because the lawyer didn't get him out of jail doesn't mean that he's not doing everything he can do. The case is the type of case where you're going to sit and you're not treated differently because you're P. Diddler Combs. I mean, you're not. So we got a new judge, a new attempt at trying to get out, which is not going to work. A judge is not going to overrule his buddy judge. It's just not going to happen. We got a new lawyer on the case because he's not getting out. So let's try something different, is what his theory is. And the jail conditions, he's probably just sitting in his cell, 6x8 cell, and just riding around on the back of a cockroach. And it's boring. I mean, and the conditions aren't the greatest. Given tapes of Jennifer Lopez from Diddy raids by FBI.
But no, according to Suge Knight.
The tapes show J-Lo's involvement in 1999 shooting, Knight says. I mean, whether Suge Knight said that is immaterial. Really, but I do question, Jennifer Lopez, because she was with and engaged to the Diddler, wasn't she? I mean, back in the day. How are you that close to somebody where you're not aware of some of the shit's going on? I'd be shocked if she didn't know. So you count on her to be a witness for the prosecution. She's trying to stay as far away from this as possible. And I don't know that I would, hold a candle up to what Suge Knight has to say.
And the big connection here is that the 99 significance is in relation to that 1999 club shooting that he was involved in, where a bunch of people died, and she was there. And so that's what they were talking about, is she was a witness. This was his statement. They go raid Puffy's house, and they get all these videos of J-Lo doing this and J-Lo doing that. He said, recalling her involvement in the 1999 nightclub shooting, where Moses Shine Barrow took the fall for the music mogul. And they know the fact that J-Lo lied and said the gun was Shine's or whatever, and sent that man to prison and destroyed his life. And they said they knew it was Puff.
You might be wondering what went down at these so-called freak-offs that stirred up enough drama to get a judge involved. Picture this: exclusive, behind-closed-doors gatherings where secrets ran deep and wild. These events made even the most outrageous reality shows look tame. And there's one detail so shocking that it's got everyone buzzing, from the feds to gossip blogs.
TMZ is reporting that at least 2 new people plan to cooperate with the feds, and they're willing to testify in front of the grand jury.
All right, joining us now with the details, Charles Latabodier, TMZ executive producer. Charles, thanks so much for being here with us. Obviously, it's been a very busy week in this case. What's the latest with the investigation?
Yes, Steve and Bianca, as U.S. Attorney Damian Williams promised earlier this week, he said this is an ongoing investigation and that they will be speaking to more people. We found out that these two individuals, and we have actually spoken to one of them. They are both sex workers, currently sex workers. One of them says that they had an interaction with Diddy in 2014, and they are willing to tell the feds what they know about that interaction. And another one said that they are willing, and not only willing, but have been subpoenaed to go before the grand jury. So the second person could end up going before the grand jury. At this stage, they are just going to be interviewed by prosecutors. Clearly, they're trying to figure out what these other witnesses know and how they can help them convict Diddy, and that's the name of the game at this point for the feds.
Yeah.
The question is if there is going to be a jury, because yesterday you reported that a former warden had a warning for Diddy that he should watch his back in prison.
Yeah, look, this is, he's going to be in this at Brooklyn, MDC Brooklyn. Who knows? It could be up to a year before this trial begins. And obviously, they're going to be, his attorneys have said that they're going to try to get him moved to a different facility. But for now, he's in there. And what we've been told by a former warden is he's a target. That's the fact of the matter, and that's why they have him in a solitary part of the jail, because they don't, he becomes a target because it's like what we've been told, it's like a badge of honor that if you were able to inflict some violence on Diddy, that gets you score points with other inmates. So that's the situation that obviously the jail officials do not want to happen, so they're going out of the way to make sure that doesn't happen. He is in a really, can you imagine like the lap of luxury that Diddy's been used to for decades now, and then just like that, he is now in this jail, and unless they can get him bail at some point, he's going to be behind bars for a long time.
And just briefly, what's going on behind the scenes in Hollywood? All these people who partied with him, who might be on these hidden tapes. What level of panic are you hearing from all these people we know who associated with him over the years?
I will tell you, Steve, we are not hearing any panic because no one, and this has been true since the raids, really, nobody people who we know Diddy. We've seen them at his parties, and I'm not talking about the freak offs. I mean, we haven't seen any of that video, though. Remember, the feds say they do have video that they seized during the raids from those freak offs, so they know who the celebrities are, if there are any involved in the freak offs. But we've seen plenty of video over the years of Diddy's very public parties, and all of those people, they're not saying anything. They haven't for months. And yes, to your point, there certainly got to be people who are nervous about getting a call from the U.S. Attorney's Office, whether it be to come in as a witness, whether it be just to be interviewed to find out what they know, or go before the grand jury, which is something nobody wants to do. They all want to be away from this case as much as possible.
I feel like we're certainly just scratching the surface on this case. Let's talk about something else happening right now. You're reporting today that Lady Gaga's dad just endorsed Trump, calling him pure and a patriot. Was this surprising to you as you guys were talking about this today?
It was definitely surprising. Joe Germanata, or as we've been calling him here in the office, Daddy Gaga, went on Fox and Friends this morning and very full-throatedly endorsed former President Trump and spoke about why he is endorsing him. He acknowledged that, in his word, the word he used was, he acknowledged that Trump is abrasive, but he just prefers his policies. He said, I'm not voting for a person, I'm voting for the policy. And he felt like New York has gone downhill while Joe Biden was in the White House, and he thinks that Trump should be back there. You can tell he is not comfortable with some of the things that Trump says or does, but it's about policy for him. It was weird because we all know that Lady Gaga is very liberal, and while she has not endorsed Kamala Harris yet, she did full-heartedly endorse Joe Biden, and we're expecting at some point she will do that for Harris and Waltz.
Yeah, as of right now, I think all she's done is like the post from Taylor Swift or whatever.
The family dinners are going to get interesting.
So what were these parties really about? Imagine a playground for the rich and famous, but with way more glitz and scandal. This wasn't your typical pool party with a few drinks and harmless gossip. Oh no, these were full-blown, no-holds-barred events where guests left their inhibitions and their designer coats at the door. The guest list was tighter than security at Fort Knox. If you weren't somebody, you weren't getting in, period. Once inside, it was like stepping into a whole new world. The music was loud, the drinks were endless, and the atmosphere?
It's all about the money. They saw what he did to Cassie. With the kicking, the punching. They saw what they did to Cassie. They know that nobody in America liked that. So now, these people are represented by a brand. Whether it's something about the music, clothing, movies. They're not gonna come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them. And they praying that they not on the tape doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. They praying. So until the feds say, hey, yo, listen here. We got you on, hey buddy, we got you on this tape, and girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not gonna show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs. That's when they're gonna start talking, and they're not gonna be talking in his favor. When the feds come to them and show them what they got on tape, because if he had 250 tapes all over, 250 cameras all over the house, somebody got caught stealing a cookie out the cookie jar. It could be your favorite pastor. It could be your favorite politician. But they didn't think they was being watched. And Brother Love was watching.
Yeah, I mean, TD Jakes, he haven't even came out and said anything. And him and Diddy was real cool.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, man. And I know the people in the congregation over there is shaking in their boots because this man then led them probably, allegedly led them to damnation, because those people's hearts are going to be broken if that man is seen on those tapes doing anything. Because people always put their faith in the pastor instead of putting their faith in God. And what they need to do is understand that he's just a man. And he has a history. It's not looking too good for him.
So you feel like celebs are worried that they might be on tape?
Oh, they know. That's why they ain't speaking up or saying nothing. Yeah, I was at a Diddy party, but I know I ain't do nothing. When you don't know somebody's taping you, when you don't know that somebody is videoing you in some kind of form of fashion, you got that alcohol, you got the drugs in you, they're a little loose, bruh. They let down all their inhibitions. The music is pumping. He said it himself. He got it so hot in there that you got to take your clothes off. He said that himself, bruh. So a lot of them, like what he said? I think a lot of them was being swallowed. Have you ever been swallowed? They tell off on themselves all the time, man. You just gotta listen.
But why do you think Diddy had all them hidden cameras?
Bruh, when you that powerful, you didn't get that powerful without having 1 or 2 or maybe 3 ups on somebody.
Let's just say it was steamy enough to make your Instagram filters fog up. I won't get too graphic, but what went on behind those doors would have your grandma clutching her pearls and your pastor saying an extra prayer on Sunday. Rumor has it that some activities pushed not just moral boundaries but legal ones too, enough to make even the boldest celebs blush. TMZ has been all over it.
Diddy always been the type of individual that want to have ups on the next person no matter what they was doing. Like, he always played artists against each other. He did it to Big, he did it to Craig Mack. You understand? I said before, he did the stuff to Ja Rule, you know what I'm saying? So had the ups on Ja Rule so he could go after Jay-Z. You understand what I'm saying? So he always played those kind of up games on people. So to have those cameras and know what he was doing, it's gonna give him the ups on everybody who came to that party. Even your favorite basketball player. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. We know who said that. He may be one of the persons got caught up in the Diddy party.
LeBron said that, but yeah, you might be right. You know, it sounds like he had all them hidden cameras to use it against people.
I think that was said in the indictment, right? That was said in the indictment. You know, somebody, I think Dawn may have said that. I don't know for sure. And correct me if I'm wrong. He would, even if you didn't want to do something, he would tell an individual, well, I got you on tape doing it before. And the person would feel pressured in having to do something or come and do something at the party or be at the party because he already had him on tape right then and there. But what you think when you do it the second time? He's still gonna have you on tape. Those tapes is the one who's killing, because people don't understand this. Little Rod, he's taping for Diddy in some occasions. When he wrote his indictment up, when he wrote his when his lawyer wrote up his briefs and submitted it, he must have had he must have been a prosecutor somewhere or something like that, because he wrote it up like it was an indictment. You understand? Saying all the stuff that had happened. Then people don't understand this. After he wrote it up and he had the tapes and everything, they sent that to the feds. The feds opened up a case on that. Everybody think it's happened. Oh, the feds looked at Cassie getting beaten, and then they just open up a case. Nah. I think it was more so Lil Rob and them sending the feds that information. They put in a civil suit, then sent the other stuff over to the feds, and it read like an indictment. So they had to look at it because they see some crimes that was committed in that. And lo and behold, they do a raid on the house. So, to get back to your question, all the footage and everything that they have is going to either help them get some more people or get enough people just to hang Diddy.
Now here's where things get really messy. Rumors started flying, and it wasn't just about partying. People were whispering about drugs being passed around. Serious stuff that makes headlines when celebrities get caught. And it gets worse. There are claims that some of the guests might not have been old enough to even buy a lottery ticket, if you catch my drift. Yeah, we're talking about underage participants. If that's true, it's no wonder the law is cracking down hard.
Make a lot of people upset, but then a lot of people love my opinion. That's why you bring me on here. And I really appreciate that, brother. I just want to say this before we get started, Art, is that, a lot of people think I came here to bring a black man down. And that's what I hear in the comments a whole lot. But it was nothing like that. A black man didn't cuss a dead man's mother out. A black man didn't set his friends up and put them in a situation where they couldn't come home to their families no more. A black man didn't reach back and help the people that helped them make it up the ladder. It was Puffy. You understand? I got tired of Puffy going on different platforms talking about how he loved the people that we was all with, how he loved the people that helped him, when in fact, none of that stuff was true. So my whole thing about it is, man, I appreciate your platform for letting me, voice my opinion. And like I said, opinions like an asshole. Some of these cats out here get paid for their asshole. I get paid to give my opinion.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I mean, yeah, you just on here giving your opinion, man. I mean, you was one of the people that was real close to the situation, so why not?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So with that being said, right, the last interview me and you did was a day after the raid. And when you look at everything now, man, how you feel about everything? It's been like a week, you knowing Diddy, you being around Diddy. Could you ever imagine that his houses would get raided for sex trafficking?
Bruh, you can't imagine no stuff like that. You understand? You can't think that, because back then he wasn't Brother Love. He was Puffy. All the way up until he became Diddy. So his behavior over the years has changed. And the behavior that he shows now and that he has shown by being Brother Love, I couldn't imagine that the police would be raiding him for sex trafficking? Nah, bruh. I couldn't imagine that. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't him back then. He's a totally different person that he became. If you've seen him on other platforms, inviting men to party with him, inviting men to go shopping with him. You understand? That wasn't Puffy. That wasn't Diddy. That was Brother Love and Love.
Apparently, there was one night that went way too far. Rumor has it that during one of these parties, things got so out of hand that someone ended up in the hospital. And this wasn't just a case of too much champagne. This was serious. The details are still unclear, but sources say it involved big names, a lot of illegal substances, and a situation that spiraled out of control. This is what grabbed the authorities' attention, turning wild parties into potential crime scenes. And I know you're curious about who was involved. Trust me, the names will blow your mind. We're talking about stars you see in movies, hear on the radio, and follow on Instagram. But before we dive into who's about to trade designer clothes for orange jumpsuits, let all this sink in.
How you feel about all the people that's wondering why haven't any of Diddy big name friends came out to defend him?
Because either two things that I believe. Either they know some of the stuff is true, either they took part in some of the stuff that happened, or they scared that it may mess up their brand. See, nobody wants to be in contact with anybody that allegedly was sex trafficking. You see what the WWF did to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon was one of those people that was called for sex trafficking. We don't hear a lot about it because he gave up the company, he did what he was supposed to do, and he became Ghost. But now you see they trying to do the same thing to Puffy. They trying to make him or hip hop the face of sex trafficking, like they was going to do the WWF at one time, because that was a big story. So a lot of his people that know him, a lot of the people that been in those parties and seen probably some unscrupulous shit that went down and was like, ooh, I was there. I hope they don't got me on tape. They feeling a certain way. So they're not going to speak on nothing until they've been approached with something. You got to realize when Homeland Security get their evidence together, they're going to send agents out. You understand? They might send an agent out to me. yo, what do you know? What have you heard? What have you seen? What's been going on? You know what I'm saying? You know, did this happen when you was around him? Did this happen back in the day? That's what they're going to want to know. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to send investigators out. They're going to send people out for anybody that they can get some information from to help their case. So those celebrities ain't going to say nothing. You know, you got your man Stevie J speaking on it right now. He'll be one of the first dudes that they'll probably pull to the side and say, yo, well, you say that your man, I heard you on TMZ said that he never did this and he never did that. But ain't this you? If those pictures or those films or anything like that exists. You know what I'm saying? That's what they pay those agents to do. So, of course, I don't believe that none of the people who are his celebrity friends is going to speak or say nothing until they're either contacted or they know what they really got.
So you feel like they might be worried that they might be on tape at one of Diddy parties doing something they wasn't supposed to be doing?
I think that the celebrities that may be worried is because what Lil Rob said. Lil Rob said in his affidavit that Diddy had every room taped and bugged. Diddy had, yo, bro, can you imagine? He had every room taped and bugged, and they found little bugs or little tape recorders. I mean, little those micro projectors or whatever like that, or video cameras. They found them in the house, bro. So by them having those things in the house, and people know there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's loose women, there's loose men, woman on woman, man on man, all kind of crazy shit. Bruh, they just wondering who or when they're gonna let this stuff be known. If it's on videotape.
Yeah, man, I know they gotta be shook, man, after finding out he was recording everything.
But not only celebrities, I don't think it's only celebrities gonna be shook. He had politicians in there. He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there. Hallelujah.
Here's where things get really messy. Word on the street is that it wasn't all fun and games. Rumors started swirling that drugs were being passed around like party favors. Serious stuff that makes headlines when celebrities get busted. But that's not even the worst part. There's talk that some guests might have been underage. If that's true, it's no wonder the law is cracking down. The real shocker? One night, things reportedly got so out of hand that someone ended up in the hospital. And this wasn't just a case of too much champagne. This was serious. The details are still unclear, but sources say big names were involved, with illegal substances and a situation spiraling out of control. That's what caught the authorities' attention, turning these parties into potential crime scenes. I know you're dying to know who's caught up in all this. Trust me, the names will shock you. We're talking stars from movies, music, and Instagram. But before we dive into who might be trading designer clothes for orange jumpsuits, let's take a moment to let it all sink in. Next voice.
What they did was, prior to the raid, they reviewed that civil lawsuit. And that civil lawsuit told, Cassie's civil lawsuit was Lil Rod had already did it. Lil Rod hadn't did his yet, did he? Did Lil Rod do his lawsuit before the raid or after the raid?
Oh, before.
Yeah, so what they did was they reviewed both of those civil lawsuits and found that there was some criminal activity in those lawsuits. We spoke that on Art of Dialogue. We spoke about that on your show. I said if they really wanted him, all they had to do was review those civil lawsuits. And once they find the criminal activity in those, they could bring them in. Now, did the Federal Bureau of Investigation in Miami do it? No, they didn't. Did California do it? No, they did not. The Southern District of New York, they took it upon themselves and put on that raid and everything based on the information they found in Cassie lawsuit and the information they found in Little Rod lawsuit. But all this is bigger than Diddy. It's bigger than Diddy, bro. Because you know who else they was doing investigation on during that whole time period? It was the mayor and the politicians in New York City. They turn around and give him the key to the city. All the mayor people that he brought on here in New York City are all resigning. They all resigning. People ain't gonna tie this together, but if you look at it, you have to say, because of Mayor Adams and his relationship with Diddy, it brought on the Southern District of New York to start investigating Diddy on civil lawsuits that was put against him. Because the feds is going after all these politicians in New York City.
Yeah, the feds revealed that, anybody that, participated in any, criminal behavior at his freak-offs, they're going to pursue.
Listen here. The mayor here take like 15 spoons of sugar in his coffee. So it's all a possibility.
Do you think there's any celebrities on those tapes?
Bro, he gave celebrity parties. So what you think? I think they're not telling the whole truth, is that because of the situation in Miami and the situation in California, and they closed the clubs like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and something like that, that Justin and Christian was bringing big vans of girls and people back to the mansion and giving parties and stuff like that. And a lot of those stuff were their parties. A lot of that shit was their parties. They wasn't always Puff parties. It was his son's parties.
Good point. They said some of these freak-offs will last for days.
That's where they're gonna get him on the sex trafficking thing. Especially like if he was traveling and doing it. That's where the sex trafficking come at. That you hiring sex workers to come and have sex with your girl. That's crazy. That's some Hollywood that I don't even know, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. But they also claiming that, Diddy, he'll give ecstasy to his victims to keep them obedient.
Then they have to bring those witnesses in there. That's going to be something hard to prove. Unless Lil Rob or Cassie state that was something that happened. That's how the prosecutor's going to prove that. They got a ton of evidence that they got to try to prove, bro. A lot of that that if you read it, it could be circumstantial. You know what I'm saying? But they got to have witness to back it up. You just can't say that happened based on somebody lawsuit and what the words that they're saying. They have to have witnesses in there. And I think Puff lawyers is going to be smart enough to attack that.
Right. And they claiming that Diddy, he was blackmailing his victims because he had videos from old freak-offs and he was using those videos to get his victims to do another freak-off. So